Welcome to your life. You are a walking mountain of premium American muscle. You dress exclusively in bright neon colors like a human highlighter, and your day job consists of screaming at grown men in front of 80,000 screaming fans. You are the ultimate center of attention. Yet, for some entirely absurd reason, the internet's favorite joke is that you are completely invisible. You're the guy who survived getting thrown through tables, the guy who granted more wishes for sick kids than anyone in human history, and the guy who eventually conquered Hollywood. You are a 16-time world champion, a legend, a real-life superhero. But nobody starts out as a superhero. Before the private jets, the movie deals, and the gold belts, you were a massive failure on the verge of being fired. You were literally homeless, sleeping in a freezing car, surviving on generic protein powder. And believe it or not, the entire empire you eventually built started over a cheap can of tuna fish. Let's rewind the tape. It's the late 1970s in a quiet, freezing town in Massachusetts. You are born into a house that is essentially a domestic war zone. Why? Because you are one of 5 boys. In a normal house, having 4 brothers means you have a built-in baseball team. In your house, it means every dinner is a high-stakes competition for the last slice of pizza. Your dad is a local wrestling announcer, which means the baseline volume in your living room is a constant, aggressive shout. You realize something very early on. If you are small, you will be ignored. If you are weak, you will starve. So you start lifting weights. But you don't just lift to look good for the beach, you make it your entire personality. You go to college and literally get a degree in exercise physiology. That's a fancy academic way of saying you got a university diploma in how muscles work. You are officially the smartest meathead in the room. But unfortunately, the real world doesn't pay your rent just because you can bench press a refrigerator. It's 1999. You pack up your life and head to Venice Beach, California, the holy land for bodybuilders. You want to be a star. You have exactly $500 to your name. Spoiler alert, $500 in California lasts about 12 seconds. Before you know it, you are officially at rock bottom. You don't have an apartment. Your bedroom is the back seat of a 1991 Lincoln Continental. Let's talk about the pure logistical nightmare of this situation. You are over 6 feet tall and weigh 250 pounds. Trying to fold your massive, muscular frame into the back of a beat-up 90s sedan every night is like trying to shove a bowling ball into a sock. It's a leather-lined coffin. Your front seat is your closet. Your glove compartment is your pantry, holding a few dented cans of tuna and dry protein bars that taste like chalk and disappointment. To survive, you take a job washing and folding towels at a local gym. But you aren't just doing it for the minimum wage. You're doing it for the gym shower stealth mission. Every morning, you sneak into the locker room, scrub the smell of the Lincoln Continental off your body as fast as humanly possible, and try to look like a guy who actually has his life together. Most people would quit right here. Most people would call their mom, admit defeat, and fly back to Massachusetts to get a normal office job. But you're too stubborn. You keep grinding. Eventually, you get noticed by the biggest wrestling company in the world. They offer you a developmental contract. This is it, your ticket out of the car. They bring you on TV. They look at your massive muscles, your perfect haircut, and your total lack of experience. And they give you your very first character gimmick, a generic, emotionless cyborg. You are supposed to be half man, half machine. You walk stiffly, you talk like a GPS navigation system, and you are incredibly, painfully boring. The fans look at you and feel absolutely nothing. The big boss behind the curtain takes one look at your robotic routine and decides, this guy is a flop. Fire him. Your dream is over before it even starts. You are literally days away from moving back into the Lincoln Continental. But then the tuna fish incident happens. Picture this. You are sitting in the back of a cramped, depressing tour bus rolling down the highway at 2 a.m. You're staring out the window, calculating exactly how long it will take to drive your beat-up Lincoln Continental back to Massachusetts in shame. The big boss has basically decided you have zero personality. You are a walking muscle flop. To cope with the depression, you pull out your trusty, budget-friendly meal, a can of tuna fish. But sitting in silence is boring, so just to entertain yourself and the other massive, exhausted guys on the bus, you start to aggressively freestyle rap. You aren't just rhyming, you are completely roasting your coworkers. You are making intricate, hilarious hip-hop verses about a cheap can of tuna fish and how terrible everyone's outfits are. Suddenly, the bus goes quiet. Walking down the aisle is the big boss's daughter. She stops. She stares at you. You think, great, now I'm fired for rapping about fish. Instead, she points right at you and says, do that on television. Overnight, the boring, emotionless cyborg gimmick is thrown in the trash. The next time you walk out in front of the cameras, you are wearing a padlock chain around your neck, a retro sports jersey, and a backwards hat. You aren't a robot anymore. You are a loud, obnoxious, trash-talking street poet. You start rapping insults at your opponents before you fight them. The crowd absolutely loses their minds. You are hilarious. You are edgy. You are finally making noise. You aren't just surviving anymore. You are becoming the hottest thing on the roster. Fast forward a couple of years. The company looks at the accounting books and realizes something important. You are making them millions of dollars. But there's a slight problem. The corporate sponsors and the parents don't exactly love buying street thug padlock merchandise for their 8-year-old kids. So you pivot. You ditch the chains and the edgy rap lyrics. You trade them in for something a little more visible. You start dressing head to toe in neon green, bright orange, and highlighter yellow. You look like a walking pack of highlighters. You become the ultimate squeaky clean corporate superhero. Your new motto? Never give up. And you literally never do. You win every single match. You get thrown through wooden tables, hit with steel chairs, and dropped on concrete, but you always magically bounce back up, brush off your neon armbands, and win. You become literally invincible on screen. You are the face of the company. But here is where the psychology of crowds gets really funny. People love an underdog, but when the underdog becomes an unbeatable neon-wearing superhero, adults get really, really annoyed. The arenas become split right down the middle. Half the crowd, mostly kids, are screaming your name like you're a real-life Avenger. The other half, mostly grown men with beards, are aggressively booing you. You Suck becomes their national anthem. You are the most beloved hero and the most hated villain at the exact same time. And the best part, you just smile, tip your green cap, and keep selling millions of neon t-shirts.
Now that you are the undisputed king of the mountain, a ghost from the past returns. Enter The Rock. The Rock was the biggest star of the previous generation, a massive, shiny, tattooed, incredibly charismatic guy who used to run the company. But years ago, The Rock packed his bags, went to Hollywood, and became a massive, multi-millionaire movie star. He decides to come back for a quick visit. And you take this personally. You grab a microphone and you absolutely destroy him in front of millions of people. You call him a part-timer. You mock his $5,000 silk shirts. You tell the world that while he was off making terrible family comedies in Hollywood, you were sleeping in airports and getting slammed onto wooden planks 300 days a year for the fans. You represent the blue-collar, never-quit grinder. He represents the Hollywood sellout. This kicks off a legendary multi-year beef. You are insulting each other every single week. It gets so intense that during one segment, you literally write your insults on your wrist in black marker, like a desperate high school student cheating on a math test, just to make sure you don't forget your punchlines against him. The irony of this entire feud? You spend years mocking The Rock for leaving his fans to go make movies in Hollywood, completely unaware that in just a few years, you are going to do the exact same thing. But for now, it's the biggest spectacle on earth, the grinder versus the movie star.
Eventually, your body starts to remind you that getting slammed onto wooden planks for 20 years isn't a sustainable career path. You've conquered the wrestling world. You're the king of neon merchandise. So naturally, you follow in the footsteps of the Pebble and head to Hollywood. You're a global movie star now. You're in massive action franchises. You're the man who can't be stopped until you say one wrong word. During a press tour for a big-budget car movie, you accidentally refer to a certain place, Taiwan, as a country. Suddenly, the gears of the global economy grind to a halt. A massive billion-dollar international market threatens to ban your movie and erase you from their history books. The fall. This is the moment the invincible hero is finally humbled. You film an apology video. You're sitting in a dark room looking directly into a webcam and you are speaking Mandarin. You look terrified. You're apologizing for having an opinion. Sarcasm, it was a bizarre moment for the world. Seeing the strongest man on earth, the guy who tells children to never give up, completely surrender to a movie box office was a shock. For a moment, you truly became invisible. Not because of a meme, but because people felt you'd lost your spine. The hero was human after all, and apparently, even superheroes have to answer to the accountants. So, how do you fix a reputation that's taken a massive hit? You don't do it with another movie, you do it with your heart. While the internet is busy arguing about your politics, you are quietly setting a world record that has nothing to do with muscles or gold belts. You become the most requested person in the history of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. We aren't talking about a few dozen visits, we're talking over 650 wishes.
You've spent more time in hospitals with sick kids than some actual doctors. You don't do it for the cameras. Most of the time, there aren't any. You do it because you realized that being invincible isn't about winning a wrestling match in front of 80,000 people. It's about being the person a kid wants to see before they go into a life-changing surgery. Finally, you reach the finish line. You return to the ring one last time, you take off your signature hat, and you leave it in the center of the mat. It's over. You're a full-time Hollywood legend now. But instead of playing the invincible hero roles, you do something genius. You start making fun of yourself. You take roles where you wear a silver toilet bowl helmet, dance in your underwear, and play characters that are completely ridiculous. You've learned the ultimate lesson. The only thing more powerful than being invincible is being able to laugh at the man in the mirror. Think about the journey. You started as a kid fighting for pizza in Massachusetts. You survived the freezing nights in the back of a Lincoln Continental. You saved your career with a can of tuna fish and a freestyle rap. You became a neon-colored superhero, survived a global controversy, and broke world records for kindness. You've been loved, you've been hated, and you've been turned into 1,000 memes. But in the end, you proved one thing. You weren't born invincible. You were built, one struggle at a time. And whether people can see you or not, they will never, ever be able to ignore you.